Okay, let's dive straight into one of those travel experiences that, well, it pops up on pretty much everyone's bucket list. Visiting the Taj Mahal.
Right.
Specifically, we're talking about that almost mythical sunrise visit. You know, the image, that incredible white marble just bathed in the softest early light?
Yeah, everyone knows that shot.
But is waking up hours before dawn actually worth it? That's the big question.
Well, to try and figure that out, we've been digging into an article. It's from Great Holiday Ideas, and it's titled Taj Mahal at Sunrise. Is it really worth the hype?
Okay.
And what's great about this piece, I think, is the author has actually done the sunrise visit 3 different times.
3 times? Wow.
Yeah, so they've seen it all, the good, the bad, and potentially the foggy. So they have a really grounded perspective.
Absolutely. That sounds perfect. So our mission for this deep dive, then, is to take everything this article tells us about the reality of that pre-dawn experience versus, the expectation. We want to give you the full picture so you can decide if setting that, 4 a.m. alarm clock is truly your kind of holy grail Taj moment.
Exactly. Is it for you?
So, okay, let's unpack what the article says this sunrise experience is actually like. It sounds like it starts, way before the sun even thinks about coming up.
That's right. Yeah, you're getting there when it's still properly dark. The article describes joining a line in that pre-dawn gloom, sort of shuffling through the initial security checks.
Right.
There's this real sense of anticipation building up in the darkness.
Okay, but that 4:30 a.m. alarm starts to feel worth it the moment you get inside, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What happens as that first bit of light hits the marble?
Yeah, the way the article describes it is pretty beautiful. It's like watching a photograph develop right in front of your eyes. The marble isn't just, plain white. It absorbs and reflects the changing light minute by minute. It shifts from this kind of ghostly blue-gray in the earliest light.
Wow.
Then it warms up to a really soft pink, and finally, it just glows with this radiant golden hue as the sun clears the horizon.
Yeah.
That gradual minute-by-minute transformation, that's really the main event.
Wow, like a photo developing
Yeah.
that really paints a picture. So it's not just one color shift. It's like a constant, subtle change as the light intensifies.
Exactly. That transformation is absolutely key. It's what people are there for.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, or maybe the hundreds of other early birds. Everyone imagines having the place practically to themselves at sunrise. Does the article say that's the reality?
Yeah, that's a common myth, isn't it? And the article's pretty clear. It's not a serene, empty experience. You will absolutely have company, no doubt about it.
Okay, so manage expectations there.
Right. But the critical takeaway, and this is important, is that the crowds are significantly thinner than the midday rush. It's not really about being alone. It's about being among fewer people. And the article notes this too. Those early risers are often photographers or travelers genuinely there for the moment. So the atmosphere tends to be quieter, maybe more respectful.
That makes sense.
Where?
Fewer selfie sticks, maybe.
Hopefully. And the classic shot, straight down the middle, reflecting pool, it's iconic. But the article highlights that there are other viewpoints definitely worth exploring once you're in.
Ah, interesting. Like where?
Well, what's fascinating is how the light hits differently depending on where you stand. So while that main view is stunning, the article really encourages moving around.
Okay.
The side gardens, for instance, they offer these really dramatic angles as the low sun casts long shadows and highlights the intricate carvings.
Well, I can picture that.
And for views away from the main crowd, you can actually head across the river to the Mehtab Bagh Gardens that's directly across the Yamuna River.
Right, the Moonlight Garden.
Exactly. Or even find a rooftop cafe in the nearby Taj Ganj neighborhood. There's also a small mosque within the complex to the west that offers a pretty unique perspective, too. Each spot really captures that changing light in a different way.
Okay, so moving around is key. Now, timing sounds absolutely crucial for nailing this whole experience.
Yeah.
What are the specific timings the article emphasizes?
Oh, definitely. You really need to commit to the early start. No half measures. The article advises arriving at the ticket counter at least 45 minutes before the gates even open.
45 minutes before.
Yeah, to get ahead of that initial rush.
Yeah.
The gates themselves open 30 minutes before the official sunrise time.
Okay.
And of course, these times shift with the seasons. So in winter, say, you're looking at arriving around 6:00 a.m. Gates open about 6:30, and sunrise could be anytime between maybe 6:45 and 7:15 a.m.
And summer. Even earlier, I bet.
Yep. Summer means an even earlier start, arrive around 5:00 a.m., gates at 5:30 a.m., and sunrise is pretty quick after that, like 5:30 to 6:00 a.m.
Okay, good to know.
And that absolute golden period for the best light, the really magical photos, it's actually about 10 to 15 minutes after the sun has fully cleared the horizon, not right at the first crack of dawn.
Ah, that's a key detail.
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes after. Okay, but is that golden light guaranteed? Weather must play a huge role, especially in winter, right?
Yeah, this raises a really important point. Winter fog, especially from December through February, is a real possibility, a genuine risk. The article says it can create this ethereal, misty vibe that some people actually love for photos.
Yeah, I've seen those shots.
But it can also completely hide the Taj, like
Yeah.
totally obscure it. Monsoon season, July to September, you've got potential rain, although the washed marble can look beautiful after a shower.
True.
The clearest, most reliable mornings for that classic golden light are usually in the shoulder seasons, October, November, and then again February, March. Less fog, less pollution usually.
So check the forecast is the bottom line.
Absolutely. Check the local forecast the night before. Definitely.
And for people who might prefer a bit more structure or maybe some context while they're there,
Yeah.
does the article mention getting a guide for the sunrise?
Yes, it does. It notes that hiring a guide specifically for the sunrise visit is an option, and it could potentially enhance the experience, give you more history and detail as the light changes.
Okay. So why then? Why is this pre-dawn visit the thing everyone seems to want to do? It can't just be the light, can it? There must be more to it.
Well, this really connects back to the history. It's fascinating. The Mughals apparently actually designed the Taj specifically to be viewed this way.
Really?
Yeah. Shah Jahan intended visitors to witness this transformation as the first light hit the marble. It wasn't just about looking pretty. The changing colors had this deeper spiritual significance, symbolizing the soul's journey, the passage of time.
Wow, didn't know that.
And ancient visitors, the article mentions, apparently saw the morning light itself as sacred, like it brought blessings.
So it had this deep meaning from the start. And how did that ancient idea get amplified into this, like, global travel goal number one? Well, social media mostly, let's be honest. Yeah, figures. What might have started as maybe a spiritual or contemplative experience for some has definitely become the ultimate travel trophy shot.
Right.
The article gives some pretty wild numbers, like roughly 20,000 sunrise Taj photos shared online back in 2015. Fast forward to 2023, and it was over 5 million.
5 million, that's insane.
It really is. That perfect shot has become a massive driver, and it's heavily promoted by travel influencers, showing off their perfect golden hour photos. Everyone wants that picture.
And specific celebrities played a role too, didn't they? I remember seeing photos posing there in the morning light.
Oh, totally. And what's fascinating is the direct impact you can almost trace.
Yeah.
When Mark Zuckerberg posted his sunrise Taj photo, this was back in 2015, booking inquiries for dawn tours reportedly jumped by 300% the following month.
Get out, 300%.
Yeah, and then you had, Princess Kate and Prince William's iconic bench photo, Oprah meditating there, Tom Cruise getting his action shot.
Right. These really high-profile images just solidified the idea that sunrise was the time. The only time, almost.
And you can't talk about iconic Taj photos without mentioning that classic Steve McCurry shot from National Geographic, surely.
Exactly. That 1984 photo, it's still incredibly influential. You see it inspiring countless photographers today, all trying to capture that same magical quality of light he found.
Okay, let's get really practical then. If someone is committed, they're setting that alarm. What does the article say about getting tickets and actually getting there in the pitch dark?
Right, the logistics. So it gives the standard entry fees first. Currently, it's $1,100 for foreign visitors and $50 for Indian citizens.
Okay.
But crucially, it mentions these skip-the-line sunrise packages offered by some tour operators. They run around $2,500 to $3,500.
Quite a jump. Are they worth it?
Well, the article's verdict on these, worth every rupee, especially if you're visiting during peak season. Apparently, those lines can get really long, even before dawn.
I can imagine.
So getting that little bit of extra sleep, maybe, and avoiding the stress of the queue seems like a pretty good investment, according to the author.
Okay, good tip. And how do you even find transportation at, 4:3 in the morning in Agra?
Yeah, it seems daunting, but options are available. Pre-booked taxis are probably the most reliable bet. They typically cost around $400, $600 from central Agra hotels.
Okay.
Auto rickshaws also start becoming available surprisingly early from about 4:30 a.m. onwards, though you'll definitely need to negotiate the fare, maybe aim for on a 5250.
Right. Gotta haggle.
Yeah. And some hotels also offer early shuttles, so it's worth asking. The upside is the roads are almost completely empty at that hour, so the trip from your hotel is usually really fast, maybe just 15-20 minutes.
Okay, that's good. What does the article recommend you absolutely need to bring with you for this early morning expedition? Packing list essentials.
Yeah, they list several key items. First, that early morning chill is real, even in India, so definitely pack a light jacket or maybe a shawl. Also, it's dawn. Mosquitoes can be around, so mosquito repellent is a good idea.
Yes, definitely.
Of course, you'll want to capture the moment, so a fully charged camera or phone is essential. The light changes so quickly you don't want to run out of battery.
Nightmare scenario.
Right. And before the sun is fully up, a small flashlight can be helpful just to navigate the paths. Bring a water bottle, too, because the shops inside don't open until later.
Oh, okay.
And finally, just some small cash denominations, useful for, tips later on or maybe grabbing a chai outside afterwards.
Let's just revisit the crowd reality for a second. You mentioned it's not empty,
Yeah.
but also that the crowd is somehow different.
Right.
What's the key takeaway there again?
It's less about the raw number, although, yes, there are fewer people, maybe say 100 to 200 early birds on an average day.
Okay.
And more about the type of people. A large portion are photographers, like we said, and everyone else is generally pretty focused on the light and the experience itself. So it tends to be a quieter, more respectful atmosphere compared to the midday bustle and noise.
Okay, that's a definite plus.
And the article also gives a specific little tip here. The East Gate usually has shorter lines for entry than the West Gate at that time.
Eastgate. Got it. Good insider info. And security sounds like it's pretty thorough, even at that ridiculous hour.
It is, yeah. The article notes that the security checks are vigilant, they take their time, and this can slow down the line movement, which is another reason to get there early.
Right.
And they strictly enforce the prohibited items list. Absolutely no tripods allowed inside, no food, no smoking, no large bags. Keep it minimal.
No tripods. That's tough for photographers.
It is, but that's the rule. And there are 2 separate security checks you'll go through. A small tip they mention is that the separate lines designated for women can sometimes move a bit faster.
Interesting.
And the article also just briefly touches on other ways to experience India's culture more broadly, mentioning things like 5 senses walks for a more immersive kind of local experience beyond just the big monuments.
Ah, okay. So, sunrise sounds incredible, potentially magical, but also it's a big effort, a real commitment. Is that the only way to really experience the Taj? What alternatives does the article mention if that 4 a.m. wake up just isn't going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not sunrise or nothing. The most obvious alternative is sunset.
Okay. How does that compare?
The article says the evening light creates a different kind of magic, maybe less of that dramatic minute-by-minute transformation you get at dawn, but still a beautiful golden pink glow as the sun goes down.
Right.
And the crowds tend to thin out quite significantly later in the afternoon towards closing time, so you might actually get a less rushed experience then. And many photographers, interestingly, actually prefer sunset for the longer shadows it casts, which can really highlight the intricate carvings on the marble.
Oh, interesting point about the shadows. Okay, sunset's an option.
Yeah.
What else? I've heard about moonlight viewings.
Ah, yes, the moonlight viewings. Now, what's fascinating here is how exclusive that experience is. Really limited.
How limited?
It's only available for 5 nights centered around each full moon. So that's 2 nights before, the night of the full moon itself, and 2 nights after. That's it each month.
Wow.
And tickets are incredibly restricted, just 400 people allowed per night total. And you have to buy them a day in advance. You can't just show up.
Okay, that takes planning.
Yeah.
What's it like?
The article describes how the white marble literally seems to glow under the moonlight. And with the reflections in the pools, it creates this really ethereal, almost double image of the Taj. It's apparently a completely different vibe, very quiet, very mystical compared to sunrise or sunset.
Sounds amazing, but hard to get.
Yeah.
And visiting in different seasons changes things too, doesn't it? Beyond just the fog risk.
Yeah, this raises an important question. Is there actually a wrong time to visit? And according to the article, not really, but the experience definitely changes throughout the year.
Oh.
Well, like we said, winter can bring the risk of fog, but also some beautifully crisp, clear days. Monsoon season makes the gardens incredibly lush and green and washes the marble clean, which can be stunning with moody skies.
Cheers.
Spring usually offers moderate temperatures, and the gardens are often in bloom. Even summer, while definitely hot, typically means thinner crowds overall. So the Taj really has different personalities depending on when you go.
It's not just one static building.
Not at all. And just as a side note, the article also pointed towards a resource for a general India travel planning, mentioning a podcast called Incredible India Travel. Might be useful for listeners thinking more broadly.
Good to know. So bringing it all together then, after looking at all this from the article, the magic light, the crowds, the tricky logistics, the alternatives, the big question remains.
Yeah.
Is waking up at 4:30 a.m. actually worth it?
Yeah.
What's the final verdict?
Yeah, the article does a good job of framing it as a kind of value assessment, weighing the pros and cons. On one hand, yes, sunrise transforms the Taj into something genuinely magical. You get that incredible light, the air is cooler, and the crowd, while present, is more focused and less overwhelming. That's the experience side.
Our pros.
The pros. But on the other hand, you are definitely sacrificing sleep. You're dealing with the hassle of getting there in the dark. And there's always that chance the weather, mainly fog, might spoil the classic view you were hoping for.
The cons. They even broke it down with a comparison table, right? Sunrise versus a regular daytime visit.
Yes, they did. They highlight the key differences pretty clearly. Sunrise typically gives you maybe 30–50% fewer people compared to midday. You get that soft golden photography light versus harsh shadows later on. Temperatures are cool versus potentially very hot, but it requires that early energy push.
Right.
A regular daytime visit means dealing with packed crowds, less ideal light for photos, potentially intense heat, but hey, it's on a normal schedule and you just pay the standard price. The article concludes, though, that sunrise offers the closest thing you can possibly get to an almost private audience with the Taj.
Almost private. Okay, so based on this whole analysis from the source, who definitely make that early trip, who is it really for?
According to the article's verdict, photography enthusiasts should absolutely go, no question. Also, travelers who really value quiet contemplative moments and want to feel a deeper connection without all the chaos.
Okay.
If you really dislike crowds, intensely dislike them, dawn is definitely your best bet. Visitors going during the scorching summer months will also find the cooler morning air a huge blessing.
Makes sense.
And frankly, the article says, if this is your once-in-a-lifetime trip to India and you want that truly iconic, potentially transformative moment you've dreamed of, then yes, go for it. Set the alarm.
Okay. And conversely, who might be better off just hitting the snooze button and maybe aiming for sunset instead?
Well, if you're visiting during the peak heavy fog season, that's typically late December through early February, the article suggests you might be genuinely disappointed. Unless, of course, you specifically want photos of the Taj just emerging mysteriously from the mist.
Right, if that's your aesthetic.
Exactly. Also, if you're traveling with very young children, or maybe companions who just really can't function well without proper sleep, the stress and exhaustion might actually outweigh the benefit and sour the experience.
Good point.
And finally, if your time in Agra is super tight, losing that crucial sleep might make you too tired to properly enjoy the other amazing sights later in the day, like the incredible Agra Fort or Fatehpur Sikri. You don't want to be a zombie for those.
True. You need energy for Agra.
So the article's final conclusion really is that sunrise at the Taj Mahal is genuinely magnificent, and it often does live up to the considerable hype. It provides a travel moment that is deeply memorable, one that really stays with you.
Right.
But, and this is key, it acknowledges that it's just not the right choice for absolutely everyone, and that is perfectly okay. There are other wonderful ways to experience the Taj's beauty.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How something as simple, as fundamental as the angle of light can completely change our experience of beauty and architecture.
Yep.
And also just that fascinating mix of how a place built with such ancient spiritual intent now also exists so powerfully as this modern global icon, amplified by technology, by social media, by celebrity. It's quite a blend.
It really is. And, if after hearing all this, you decide you do want to travel to India and experience it, maybe the Taj or other places, we do have a recommendation based on the source materials mentions.
Well, yeah.
Five Senses Tours organizes tours across India, which are immersive cultural experiences. You can find them at 5 Senses Tours. That's the numeral 5, Senses Tours.
Okay.
You can email contact@fivesensestours.com. Note 5 is written as a numeral in contact at 5sensestours.com. Or WhatsApp to +919-845-677-446.
Great. And for a more comprehensive guide specifically for planning an India tour, the article also recommended checking out Great Holiday Ideas itself.
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive today. We really hope it helps you decide whether that sunrise alarm is calling your name for the Taj Mahal, or maybe if a sunset stroll is more your style.